What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today with the guide to Ultimate Siege, the last phase of Ravaged Realm. And one thing to note first, before we go into any of the teams, results in 2 days 6 hours. So you only have the rest of today when you see this video, and then 2 more days to go in there and get your scores. And you want to use every single day of those 3 days to get the top scores possible and to really optimize everything. Because in this final phase, we have all 4 squads open, like you know this from the squad phase. There is no combat difference compared to the squad phase, but you want to know some things, because every single day you will have 10 attacks for every single one of those squads. So overall in total this will be 40, and then there is an additional 10 attacks that you can buy. So not 10 attacks for that you can buy for every single squad, but 10 attacks overall, so that you can buy. So that is something to note right here, and you want to use those attacks to really get the last bit of damage that you can, because the way this works right now is you basically attack every single squad, and then the game sums up the damage that you do. For me, for example, that's 492 billion right now, and that will give you the ranking you have here. So this will decide how high you rank. You can really take a look at your damage. Right now, I'm pretty happy with the damage, aside from 1 or 2 squads. I think we can improve Dauntless here a little bit, and maybe Sylvan and Aurora slightly. We'll have to take a look at that. That is still something that I want to do throughout the next days. And you want to get the optimal damage, because it is now the time for the final ranking loot. You can see there are some really nice things in here. We have the Abyssal Essence, we have Stellar Crystals up to 15 that you can get, and there are of course the unique Telassa cosmetics, and those are always quite cruel because the top 20 gets them all, and then for every single bracket down below, 1 cosmetic gets removed. And you can see well, you still get pretty nice cosmetics in the top 100. Especially the top 20 is this time quite nice, because you get this Abyssal Shard, which is a quite nice back piece that is floating behind you, and that is very cool. Also, this is worth 1000 coach score if you care about that. And so what we want to do today is basically I will go with you through every single squad, give you the optimal teams, show you my favorite teams, show you my squads, and then we will also take a look at Metal's graphic to give you some options in case you miss a hero, and we will also take a look at Daragon's Charm Guide. We will do this for every single squad, and I will also provide you timestamps down below in the description, so you can jump to whichever faction you want. Maybe you only care about the Dauntless squad. It's okay, just jump ahead, go to the Dauntless squad, get your optimal team, and get as big as points as you want. And of course, one thing that I also want to note, please comment down below if this video helped you, or if you got a new high score. Always care about that, want to see you guys succeed. And with that, let's hop into my best attempt of Immortal squad today. So here we see 117 billion. I did a video about this recently. We made the team with Bonnie. We have the Talene in here, and Bonnie really gave me another little damage boost compared to Viperians. So that is definitely a very cool team. On the second side, there's still the same thing going on. Hodgkins, Sassia, Carolina. And then let's watch the formations. Looks like this. Already showed that before. And let's take a look at how this team really works. Team 1. The big hero in this, we already saw it there on the damage board, is still the Talene. And the number 1 tip that I can give you is, if you don't own Talene, maybe you own a single copy of her. And in that case, it is probably still worth that you use that single copy, because I saw some super major damage coming even from a single copy of Talene, just epic. So definitely check out if you have that, and maybe that can really give you an upper edge in the damage. Bonnie, of course, if you went for her, is a nice addition, but she's not a must-have actually. I saw some people that still, despite owning Bonnie, go for Viperian, because their Viperian is just upgraded a little bit higher and is still able to outperform their Bonnie. For me, this isn't the case. For me, Bonnie is definitely the best hero for this slot and works absolutely nice. So we see also right here we get pretty huge damage. The true damage there from the Skeleta, I have to say, really helps, and helped me get 67 billion, I think it was, on this first hit, which is absolutely major, and also the reason I like this team so much. There was also a lot of charm development that I did throughout this time, and I definitely want to show you guys the charms that I used, because on top of the Daragon selection, where sometimes you can select go for different charms, I want to give you my recommendations, show you the stuff that I did. Okay, those are my charms for the Graveborns. You can see in terms of enhancing, I went for the Carolina for Team 2. Absolutely insane. Sessia, the same here. We have Bonnie. I could honestly enhance Hodgkin's charms. We should probably really do that for tomorrow. Why don't we do that right now? Can we do that from here? I've never done that from there. It looks fancy. Okay, can't do that. I have to note that down because Hodgkin Charms Enhanced also definitely a very nice thing. And then, of course, we also have a few Celestial heroes in there, and both of which have enhanced charms. We have Scalita here with the sorcery set, and then also Teline. And definitely would say both of those should have enhanced charms, at least the Teline, because Teline just does so much damage and is the reason you are able to strike that hard in that in this squad. Going over to some alternative teams, we have the Graveborn shard here, the Graveborn image by Metal 369. Still, he did that throughout this entire phase of Ravaged Realm. They made awesome graphics for every single team, and I think he helped really a ton of people do good damage. 6th of January here, so pretty up to date. It's the most up to date graphic that we have in the last squads or rotations. I have to say there wasn't too much change in the teams anymore. We're still team 27 up here. The body team that I used hasn't made it to this site. I still think that's probably one of the teams that I prefer the most. It is listed here also as a hero to select in between if you are Salazar, if you have Scalita, maybe for you Sylvina or Bonnie or Viperion can work. And this is something that I also want to give you and give you a little bit of a tip. You have to see which heroes are upgraded on your account. Maybe you allocated a ton of resource to Salazar because you liked him, and he's now plus 25 Paragon 1 on your account or something. And then he can be a great hero for this, and you should try slotting him in and trying out which works best for you. For me, for example, it was Bonnie over Viperion. For some other people, Viperion is still doing better. So those the 4 teams are all doing well. The one that I showed you in the video that I used is also doing very well. And then for the second team, I have to say, there isn't quite that much selection. We have Sessia in here, we have Carolina in here. Hodgkin is doing a ton of damage, definitely the best tank. Then we have Thorin. I saw some people doing Igor and Nero, but it's mostly like a last solution. I would say Thorin is also still pretty decent. The first hero in this team is supposed to tank. Hodgkin can do this very well, and actually on top of that brings a ton of damage. So this is what makes him the best hero. And then we have Daragon's graphic. My charms are basically also the ones that are here on the list by Daragon. Sometimes there is a selection like this, and this is why I showed you my charms as well, so you can go ahead and can say, okay, Wraec went for this one, maybe I try it first. I don't know. If you want to go do that, that's an option. Other than that, this will give you a very, very, very good list of charms that you can go for, and I used the ones that are on here mostly, I think, as well. And with this, we are already in the Dauntless squad, Mauler faction, with some additional heroes in there that, yeah, didn't matter. I think it was a burial in there. I don't even remember. We are just using Mauler heroes. So for this one, the #1 hero is really Seth, which is pretty cool because I like Seth. But you also need to have upgraded him, and I hope you did. I think I recommended in a ton of videos. He's doing a ton of damage right here, followed by the second team with the crazy combination of Alsa and Odie. This is really what worked best for me. It's also a team that is listed on the infographic. This time we're going to check it out. Frontline spell, and here we go ahead and do the Alsa Odie combo. With Alsa being the hero buff by the resonating spell, is more damage. Surprisingly, I didn't think so at the start. We had Odie on that tile because Odie is just like an insane hero, but turns out, well, it is also you want to go there. The nice thing about this team is we're really fighting mostly at the boss, like super close. All melee heroes aside from Reese, and we even teleport Smokey over there, which is really advantageous. Gives them a little bit of time of unaffected at the start of the battle as well. So pretty good. Definitely a very nice team, and it's a Sharkir team, so it has a little bit more RNG. Sharkir somehow tends to bring RNG to teams, so definitely want to do some more attempts. I personally have to do some more because I know I can get to 124 billion on this one, and I just got 123, which is a little bit annoying, but that's the reason we have 3 days in this, and you will have enough attempts to, well, get your best score this time and try to do the best damage with your teams overall. So, Also a team that really does a lot. We can see we're at 61 billion here already. I think I upgraded the Reese charms here. Definitely you should go for the Sethmons. Those are really important. Shark here should already be like a hero where you have the charm skill power on him, provides you with massive attack boost, and he's a hero that is used in Dream Realm a ton, so definitely a very nice investment throughout the season. Yeah, 63 billion, a little bit weaker than the last one we saw in the Immortal squad, but still nonetheless a good team. And on this, I have to say the second team is an absolute powerhouse. You can see it right there. Look at that. That is an absolute madness. That's like those two heroes together are already like 57 billion. Madness. Madness. And once again, let's check out the charms. So mostly focusing really on the top damage dealers once again. We have OD, we have Alsa with the upgrade. We have Seth right here, not Shark here. Shark here is this one. Shark here, actually not upgraded. I was thinking about doing it, but he really doesn't do too much damage. And the attack bar from the Vulpine wouldn't really profit from it. So that's really, yeah, not really worth it in my opinion. Rather go for Reese probably, but I'm not too sure right now if I have the extra materials for that. So that is something that I might still do though. And as on this one, we really don't care about the Celestial Hypogean heroes that are associated with it. We can hop into the infographic already, seeing, well, Team 58, the team that I used. There's an alternate form of that with the Team 74 using the Mikola right here. Mikola, however, commonly used on the second team. Like the first one version of the second team is also the one that I used, and it is the one that I noticed did really perform the best in my opinion. So definitely want to check this out. Beyond the other two teams are right. I kind of really like that we have Seth in here, such a cheap hero to go there. You can go to Dream Realm store and buy him. And beyond that, most heroes have people have Smokey. So most of those are pretty common. I guess Reese will be maybe a problem for some, but we definitely have solutions here that you can take. Daragon's infographic. There are some options in here. You saw the teams that I used, so maybe you can go for those. The rest of those, like we have the skill power one here, we have the one with the leaf right there. It's all the same charms that I also use. So definitely some options that you have here. Yeah, and that is really all that we can say about the Dauntless squad. Let's go for the next one. Sylvan squad, ladies and gentlemen, with Lilenia as basically the main carry. It's really weird how those factions often have like some AT hero as a carry. So it's super interesting. The combination of all of those heroes, if you go to Dream Realm, a lot of the ATs just vanish, but if you focus on the single faction, somehow you have a hero like Seth, you have a hero like Lenia, suddenly king and queen of their respective factions. So that is really pretty cool. We have surprisingly enough still Leica in here. She just provides nice buffs, so definitely doing a ton of damage, nearly outperforming Brian. Brian also pretty strong. I have both of those heroes just slightly upgraded, so I mean there would be some improvements possible if you update them like at plus 10, plus 15 maybe, which I don't. So yeah, right now we are here at the 118 billion, which is not bad at all, but still something where I think I may be able to improve that through the days. I also recently got the charms for Iron. Cheetah charms right there, and we have Lily May, of course, with the upgrade charms. I mean, Lily May doing insane damage together with Parisa there. That is adds even more, I think, than the combo of Alsa and Odie. So madness. Okay, pretty cool. Formation-wise, let's take a look. Looks like this. Not too fancy. Leica here at the back. And you really don't want to teleport her with Rainier. That is the recommendation that I can give. Sometimes people think like, if I put the Brian on the tower, it's going to do more damage. If you teleport Leica with Rainier, you will lose a lot of her damage. And the thing is, it's not really worth it. If you teleport Brian, he gets like the attack boost from the Rainier. But if you teleport Leica, that's not worth it. Better thing to do actually would be if you teleported the human. That solved survivability issues for some people. For me, really mostly the charm did. That worked pretty well. Let's watch the attempt, because this is quite an interesting one. And it's one of the factions where survivability plays a major role, interestingly enough. It's not that we don't have enough heal here. It's probably one of the factions where we have the most heal. It is just that the heal timing can be important. And Hewen has downtimes. So despite her reign lasting for like, I think 9 seconds or something, we can have downtimes over there. And the reason, by the way, you don't want to teleport Leica is that you want to have this area. And this purple area is where she basically provides her buffs in. And if you teleport her over here, you won't really have this purple area. You can see how nice that is right now, because the boss puts her to the middle. And then we have like the full area nearly covered with this. And yeah, it's, the timing of the Heathen is really important. And for some people, like the charms help, because those have haste. That is pretty nice. And for some people, really some extra hits from the boss, putting her a little bit closer there can help. You can see how close that was. Did you see that? If you didn't, scroll a little bit back and check out the Lenya HP and how close that can really be. And some of those attempts, especially if you see like, oh, my numbers dropped by 5-6 billion. Yeah, that is really bad timing on your Heathen. If you see, if my Lenya dies like 5 seconds before the end, that's not too important. Would of course be preferable if it didn't happen. But yeah, so 58 billion on the first team. And not too bad, especially considering we have like the second team where there is really a lot of action happening if you have a big Lily May. Formation for this looks like this. Iron in the front. Many people ask me like, Iron, why do you not put more damage on him or use something else? You really need the first heroes for tanking. That is really the thing. You need a tank there. Some people use Ulmus instead. Works as well. Iron has a little bit more damage overall, so you get like 1 billion more, which is why I use him. So that is the thing. In terms of charms, this is what we got. Overall, like, not too many upgrades. We got like the upgrade here on the Lily May. We have upgrades on Parisa. We have upgrades on Lenya and on Brian. Though Brian, I mean, he does damage. It's just like a little bit extra. I had some extra materials and I wanted to use him on somebody. And I thought, okay, let's go ahead with Brian. Interestingly enough, in this one, I spent some time with Dynel in the team, and Dynel here also the charms, just in case you want to use him. Did pretty well, was outscaled a little bit by Brian later. It was just a very slight difference, so Dynel not at all bad. If you don't have Brian, you can replace him with Dynel. I guess that helps a ton of people. Not really, I guess if you don't have him, yeah, that's a thing. Then Rainier, any charms are good. Any charms are good on Rainier, doesn't matter. If you have some extra survivability charms, that's okay. It doesn't really do any damage, so yeah. So this is the Wilder graphic by Metal. I basically use Team 85. I only swapped the position of Lenya with Leica and then swapped the Rainier over as well, which results in basically the same team. There's no difference. So yeah, basically Team 85 is what I use, which is pretty good. Overall did the best for me. I had the theory, and that is why I wanted to use Dynel, because we have a fist damage buffing artifact right there. That Dynel as a fist damage dealing hero could do well, and yeah, turns out, yeah, but not to the extent that Brian can, so that's a thing. For the second team, well, we have 2 more teams that both use Parisa right there, but I noticed like for me the best hero to add to that second team was really Parisa. So overall I went with this middle one, I think. Interestingly enough, really did the best for me. Usually he puts the ones that do the best to the left, but this one did better for me than the other versions. We have many different heroes that you could place in this team, though like it also depends what you did on the first one. And I definitely recommend trying out buffing Parisa with Resonating Spell if you have the option to do so, in case you select her as your hero for the team. I definitely encourage you to try out the middle one. Artifact swap options are there because we're focusing magic damage depending on the hero that you use in here. And instead of like Iron as a tank, you can use Ulmus, you can use Damien. Damien didn't work too well for me. Ulmus did about the same as Iron. Iron was a little bit more damage. That's why the selection of me was to go for Iron in here. And then we have the charm recommendations. Should largely be the same that I used as well, that you saw before. Really for Iron, everything works. Some people had some problems if they had like enhanced charms and like cheater charms on him. Then you can swap those out. But if you have them, try them out. And you will see what happens. What you should do though on this one is watch the fights. Like you want to see if your Lenya dies like 30 seconds before the end of the fight, or if your second team struggles because you have some problems with this Iron strat, and this can cost you a ton of damage. So watching them in this case is really something that I would encourage, because you will see differences if you like a little bit go ahead and set better charms for stuff like Heathen, optimize your survivability a little bit, maybe even select another team. That has helped people optimize the damage by quite a lot. And there we are in the last squad, Aurora squad, largely carried by Sinbad and Harak. In fact, today I tried to find a team without Sinbad, Harak and Hugin, and it is kind of impossible. It is a menace. It's kind of impossible. But we have this strong first team. Harak brings huge RNG to your team because, well, sometimes he eats a hero, and this hero can, of course, be somebody you might want to have survive for a second longer. And that can be a little bit of a problem. So huge RNG squad, the Aurora squad. Sinbad doing a ton of damage, also providing debuffs can be very nice. I had to adjust my team a little bit around Harak eating people. Because the first team that I had like Vala on the tile. And then I noticed that it didn't do proper damage because Harak was eating Vala immediately. And then I was like, ugh, okay. I really don't want that to happen. So I put Sinbad on the tile, and then it started really working and started doing well for me because Sinbad was only later. And then they brought the patch and that changed everything. So now Harak is patched and his eating order changed. So now the positioning is more important. So that is something you want to definitely take a look at your positioning on this one. Second team, super carried by our Merrily, which I still have upgraded at 6-star because, well, was the best damage dealer for Dreamrealm bosses at the start. And then we have Corin in there, we have Sonya in there, all doing well. It's a pretty cool team and it's working pretty well. Formation for this one that I used with the copy of Fresto I had. So this is the copy of Fresto. We have Vala right here, Hugin, and then Sinbad only there with our Harak on the right tile behind the real Fresto. And then second team looking like this, buffing Merrily for some more ults. So let's watch the replay of this before we hop into the charms, because especially on like the Harak, there were some discussions around the charms, because what we used to do at the start was like going balance charm, trying to max out his mythic plus buffs, mythic plus every time he eats or defeats a hero, they will give him the stats for that. So the stats that he can get from eating those enemies or our heroes respectively, those are usually buffed and they are capped by his own attack and HP, and thus increasing his attack and HP by going ahead and giving him the balance charm was what we went for initially. Then we noticed, well, it is better if you go for butcher charms for this one. Somehow butcher really gives him a little more damage, which is crit and crit damage boost. So having the right charms here can really help. So in Dreamrealm you want different ones than really in this particular fight. And of course, interesting enough, we have the double ult from the Lightbearer. So you will sometimes see like the glowing little Harak there. 69 billion, an absolute madness on this team. Tons of damage, tons of RNG sadly as well. Second team is pretty strong in here as well. We have like 63 billion overall. Absolute madness. So this is definitely, I think, the squad with the highest damage, and I'm still not happy with my damage. I have to add that. I mean, overall we're looking at quite a nice list, but with 133 here, and I know there can be more. I know we can do 134 at least, and maybe 135. Let's hop into my charms. So Aurora squad starting off with the Lightbearer, Merrily definitely upgraded. We have Sinbad upgraded. That is something I would recommend. Optional ones on here are maybe Sonya, maybe Corin, which you could do. Are still pretty nice increases. If you have extra mats of that, you can go for those. But I would really recommend going for the major ones that you can take away. But I mean, it's not too bad to upgrade Corin overall, I guess. Or to go for Sonya, both of which do a ton of damage. And then on Harak, Butcher Charm set, the one with the sword. That is the one that you want, not the balanced one, which we actually have on Rainier right here. That is the one that you usually use. That is the one that you want to use for this. So definitely keep that in mind. That is like the best charm for this. Going into the teams, my team is not on the list. Somehow, I don't know, I end up doing weirdly good with teams that are not on the list. Lightbearer list, by the way, it's called Lightbearer because there wasn't more room, so that's something to note. We have different teams right here. Most teams include Harak or Sinbad. So keep that in mind. If you want to find a different team, there is also the option to go to the Analytica Discord Seasonal Hub and then into the Aurora Squad section. There is an Aurora Squad thread that you can go to, and there in the pinned comments you find like 40 different teams. So those all have damages next to them, so you can see which ones do well. In general, the Harak teams have outperformed all the other teams. And the teams that do have Sinbad have performed all the teams that don't have him. And if you don't have Sonya, oftentimes that was also quite bad. Nonetheless, teams like Team 40 have actually done surprisingly well. So that is something to keep in mind. This team, however, I saw do really, really good, despite not having Sinbad or Harak. So that is maybe a positive note on this. On the second team, nothing beats the first one. Absolutely insane damage. The option to use Lucius on this is really only if you don't want to use Sonya in the first one, because you want to, for example, go for Team 40. It reduces your damage overall, though, and the 40 billion damage that we got from Merrily are definitely something that you want. So keep that in mind. The charm recommendations from Daragon look like this. All the charms that we use as well. Butcher set, as I said, definitely the recommended one. Balance set not even on the list right here, because that is priority. And with that, we are already basically in the outro. I'm still rank 2, I aim to defend that, I want to increase some of my stats. If there is anything new that I find in this last moments, it will be added to a pinned comment down below. So maybe check if there already is one, depending on when you view it, there might be. Make sure you do all of your attacks. I will link you all the graphics that you have seen in the description, so there will be a ton of links in there. And that you can use all of those. I hope this video helped you. I hope you get some top scores. Write me a comment down below if you got some nice hits. And with that, I wish you a great day and we'll see us in the next one.